Right.
Oh, it's
Oh,
raining. Wet quali.
it's a full wet quality.
Inters quali.
And what's the race? What's the race?
Dry.
Race is dry. Just
Okay.
keep the setup the same.
Full inter. Hello and welcome back to some more highlights. Today we are in Trovo. Not done any highlights for Trovo before, but this is the TRSF1 race around Monaco. As you can see, it is raining qualifying, which was not ideal. We, as a team, we were looking quite good in sort of the dry qualifying. We could do sevens on the mediums and obviously on the softs significantly quicker than that. But yeah, it turns out it was an intermediate qualifying, it's a dry race. So we've got to make do with what we have. Wasn't sure if I was going to be very confident in the rain or not. I know in previous races I've done where it has been raining, I've not gone amazingly, but yeah, as usual with the rain, you're just doing laps after lap to gain time. You can see a second lap along, we're pretty much a second up, so it's pretty much just getting used to the conditions, and we've actually caught an AlphaTauri in front of us. So up into P2, just off Casper for VSR on our second lap, but after the 2 laps we're going to come back into the pits, put a fresh set of tyres on, and then go again, which we are doing now. 2 temps up, 3 temps up coming out of the last corner now on our third run. So it's going to be an improvement again to 20.2 now, so we're slowly gaining time. Casper's improved by quite a lot. He's about 3 temps in front on a 19.9 at this point. But again, on our lap after that, we are now half a second up. So this is a fairly good run. A slight mistake out of the last corner, so we lost a little bit of time. But it's 19.8, and we are 13 thousandths off of Casper's time. So it seems like the pace in the wet, especially, is fairly decent. This is our second to last run now. As you can see, we invalidated and are down. So we saw the Alpha in front going quite slowly, so we're going to slow down, get ourselves a bit of a gap before going on to the final run, which you will see in full as it's the fastest run in the session. So coming into turn 1, you've got to make sure you brake nice and late in a straight line. Probably could have took a little bit more curve on the inside, but a nice exit nonetheless, and we are marginally up on our time. Going into the casino section, just got to keep the car stable, especially in the rain. You've got a lot of downforce on the car. It could be quite unstable, obviously, with the close wings, but we are just about 2 tenths up. Still down marginally on Casper's time by just under a tenth, but the middle sector was probably where I'd say we were the strongest, down to first gear for these 2 right-hand corners here for the little bit of extra bite into the corner. A good exit coming into the tunnel section then, and we are 3 tenths up now. So this is looking on for a 19.5, 19.6-ish. If we can keep it together. We're coming into the chicane now, and we've got Christmas, who's spun in front of us, was slightly distracting Casper on a 19.7 now, so that's his final run done. We are still 2.5 tenths up now, so if we can hold on to this, it's looking good. We've got a racing point, another distraction on this lap, but we are just about 2.5 tenths up, so we hold on to this into the final section, then we're looking good for pole. Good last corner coming up, and it is a very good last corner. 4 tenths up now, nearly 4.5 tenths up as we come across the line. And it's going to be a 19.405, and that will be pole position for the Monaco Grand Prix. And I've got to say, that was unexpected. As you can see on the left-hand side, and the results in a minute, it's a fairly decent gap of over 3.5 tenths. So that was a big confidence boost going into the race, I've got to say, especially against the likes of Casper. So that's unexpected, but very happy with it, of course. On the formation lap now, obviously because we missed out on qualifying on the tyres we needed to start the race on, we get free choice, and pretty much everyone, from what I could see, was going to go for the medium soft strategy, which indeed they did. The only thing to report on really from the formation lap was the back of the field, obviously quite slow. He's just sat on the grid for quite a while, so I was slightly worried my tyres are going to be a bit cold, which obviously you'll see at the start of this race in a minute, whether that is an implication or not. But yeah, we're just sat here waiting for the grid to form up, which they are about to do now, and the 5 lights are going to come on. The crucial start in Monaco. The 5 lights are on now, and they go out now, and we are away. It's going to be a good start. It's a decent-ish start, but Casper gets a mega second phase. He's going to pull to the outside. We're going to have to take to the inside. Casper goes in deep, and we just about hold on from Casper going deep into the corner. So got away with that one slightly. Yeah, as I expect, I think the tyres were slightly cold, which is why we didn't get the most amazing exit. But the hard bit has pretty much been done now. One of the hardest parts, obviously, maintaining the lead. And pretty much from here on in, you'd like to think you could just maintain the gap and control the race, but obviously that's a lot easier said than done when you've got an esports driver behind you. But the virtual safety car's out. I think there was a bit of an incident at the hairpin, as there always seems to be on that one. So yeah, just going to make sure we keep in the green on the delta. It doesn't really matter if we go miles into the green because everyone's close together anyway. We're coming to the straight now. I lifted off slightly down this straight, thinking I was going to go into the red on the delta, and that gives Casper an absolutely mega run at the restart. We just about defend it, but again, I think he's going to put it into overtake mode here, which indeed he does. He's going to try to pull to the inside, we defend it. He's going to try around the outside, but unfortunately for him, that is not going to work. And we do just about maintain the lead. So, yeah, hopefully, now we've had the virtual safety car interruption, we can get into some sort of rhythm and maintain our lead as much as possible. I knew sort of from practice what times we should be doing on the medium tyres and sort of what I should be basically aiming for. But at this point, it really wasn't about hitting lap times. It was about keeping it consistent and making sure we don't hit any of the walls. As we skip all the way now onto lap 12, as it was pretty much as I just explained there, just keeping it out of the walls. World Rally behind was slightly slower than me and Casper, so we did pull away. But as you're about to see in a second, Falcon Nardi now gets through on Rally, who's about 4.5 seconds behind. So that's an important factor, obviously, in this race. If me and Casper could just pull away at the front, then things would be a lot easier. But we'll have to see whether Nardi does begin to catch us, as we've got a lap car in front, and I'm pretty sure he's going to get out of the way for us very nicely. Indeed, he does. So, yeah, that's pretty much what was happening at this point in the race. I mean, the gap to Casper was always hovering around the second mark, 8-9 tenths to a second. So the pace was pretty good, and it was also pretty much keeping our ERS at around 70-80%, which is really what we need to do in case Casper mounts an attack or anything happens. But lap 25, we actually managed to break the DRS to 1.1 seconds now, so he's actually out of the DRS. I'm not sure whether he was struggling for pace or just made a mistake for a couple of laps, but as you can see now, lap 25, and he is into the pits. So Casper is performing the undercut on us. Now, we, obviously in the team, in the party, we saw that the train from World Rally and a lot of the cars behind were very close to where we would come out of the pit, so we didn't really want to pit and then get stuck behind cars, and which indeed, I think, if you see on the mini-map, we have the Williams, which is Casper coming out the pit lane now, and he's just behind the racing point. So there's potential that Casper could get held behind that racing point, which obviously we really need if we are to maintain the lead, because the soft undercut is fairly large around here. But yeah, we're burning a lot of battery on this lap, all the way down the tunnel section, because obviously we really need a good in-lap. If Casper had clean air, it'll be pretty much an easy undercut, but there's every chance, obviously, with Casper behind Zoccolet in the racing point, that we can maintain the lead. But as you'll see on the minimap in the top left, now Casper does make it past down the straight, and as we're coming to the pits, you'll probably see that 18.1 second gap coming down very, very quickly. So the aim now, well, we've just got to wait and see what happens. Is Casper going to manage to perform the undercut? The gap did come down to about 17.5 seconds, so he gained a lot in that last sector. And I think if you look on the minimap now and look on the left on the track, you'll see Casper going through. And to be fair to him, it wasn't even close. Casper's miles ahead, and we're actually quite close to Nardi behind us, who's only 7 tenths behind us. Casper has cleared the DRS now, so he's 1.2 seconds clear. And to be honest, I wasn't expecting that. With him having to pass another car as well, I was not expecting the undercut to be that huge. But yeah, I wouldn't really say there was much more we could do there. Obviously, pitting the lap before would have probably negated that undercut. But when you're the car ahead, it's quite difficult to know, obviously, when you need to pit. But yeah, another crucial lap here, which is why it's staying in the highlights. We really need to get back into the DRS of Casper to allow us to try and mount a challenge towards the end of this race, as hard as that is in Monaco. Obviously, we've got Falcon Nardi behind us, who's only 6 tenths, so if we don't catch up to Casper's DRS, then we could definitely be under threat from him. But no, I was still feeling quite confident and quite quick, so we'll have to see what sort of pace we have in the next few laps. Gap's 1.1 seconds, just about, so we're just not quite in the DRS. We're going to use a little bit of ERS again. Casper's fastest lap then, a 10.1, so we've got to try and go quicker than that, obviously, if we want the fastest lap point as well. The gap is just about a second now, coming into the casino section, lap 28, and 9 tenths then, so we're pretty much teetering on the edge. I'd like to think he's pushing quite hard at this point to try and keep us out of the DRS, but you can see the hairpin. We were fairly strong in this middle section of the track, and the 8-tenth gap now. So I was pretty comfortable with the position I was in, and even didn't really use any ERS down this tunnel section because I was happily in the DRS section. So yeah, it was nice to see that my pace was decent enough to catch back up to Casper, and from this point onwards I was just trying to maintain my ERS level so I could mount and attack any sort of opportunity I get. But in regards to the fastest lap, we are about 1.5 seconds up on our fastest so far, and we've definitely caught Casper in this last sector. So let's see if we can manage to get the fastest lap off Casper, and indeed we do. It's a 9.6, and I'm pretty sure that is a way quicker than the rest of the field has managed. But yeah, pretty much status quo for the next sort of 6-7 laps, as you can put behind Casper at the end of lap 36, and Nardi again right behind us. But we have got a lot closer on lap 36, and as you'll see in a minute, we were quite strong through the first corner, which I always seem to have been here for some reason. But Casper goes in slightly deep, and we're going to take this advantage to use our overtake mode and see if we can get anywhere near making an overtake. We get close, but Casper defends it nicely, and there's not really too much that we can do. Still very close though, so we're going to use a little bit of overtake, see if we can find a gap down the inside, but again, not quite the room to do so. The hairpin, not really any opportunity to. It's pretty much single file there, and you're asking for a crash if you go down the inside there. But again, we're going to negate on the fact that hoping Casper doesn't have any ERS left because of the attack we did up into the casino section. We're going to burn it all now and see if we can gain anything. But again, not really close enough to mount an attack, and we've pretty much burnt all our ERS now at this point, trying to get close to Casper, which we are close, but just not quite close enough to send it. And you know, P2 is still a very good result for the team, so I don't really want to throw that away, but of course you always want to win, especially around Monaco. We're pretty much pushing Casper now onto lap 38. We've got 2 laps left to do this, 30% battery, and it's going to be all about this lap, pretty much setting it up for the next lap and seeing if we can gain or maybe overtake Casper. He definitely used a bit of ERS down this back straight. I noticed that because he pulled away significantly. So again, I was thinking he probably was pretty low on battery at this point. So we were not too bad, 30%. That's definitely enough to push for an entire straight. So let's see if we can get any sort of opportunity to do so. We're again very, very close to Casper, and I think we're going to go good exit from here. We're going to mount an attack again. Yes, ERS is fully engaged, but again, look, we don't really seem to gain too much on Casper, and that is pretty much all our overtake gone now, 15%. I can't imagine we've got much more than Casper does, but again, we're not going to give up. We're just going to keep pushing and pushing and pushing until the very last corner. It's also important and to note as we get very close to Casper, coming around the second to last corner, it's important to note, obviously these tyres, they've been on 13 laps now. You can see pretty much in 60% going into the last lap. They were not feeling very good. I mean, you saw that lap on the last lap, we were almost 3 seconds off my fastest. So these tyres are definitely very squirmy, and yeah, as you can see from all three of us in the top three, we were all squirming around everywhere. But again, it's pretty much as close as we've been the whole last stint, really. I can't see anything change unless Casper makes an error. The only opportunity really is going to be down into the tunnel. So we're going to try and follow as close as possible. About 25% ERS, we're going to put it all down in the tunnel, but I think Casper pretty much has the same idea, or at least he has the straight line speed to defend it, and indeed not really close enough to mount any sort of attack. So unless he makes a mistake in this final sector, I think it's going to be Casper and VSR's win to take. But again, we're going to keep pushing. Very squirmy through the swimming pool section, but into the final two corners now is not really any overtaking points. So Casper's going to come around the final corner, and he is going to take the win. We're going to come home in P2 and Nardi in P3. And that was, I won't lie, slightly disappointing come the end of the race, but I don't think there was much more we could really do. I mean, the pace was good in qualifying and the race. It's just the undercut that costs us mainly. But yeah, good race other than that, of course.
Yeah, no, you did really well. Honestly, I didn't think you'd hang with him if he was.
I think I was quicker than him.
If it was just
honestly.
a pace battle, yeah, you were. So I mean, he's made it work having passed that car straight away. So I mean, fair play. But
I got a second warning on like that soft stint, so I couldn't really push too much at the end. But yeah, the last few laps we were all just absolutely sliding everywhere. I think I was in the 60s, so they must have been quite hard as well. Well, yeah, there we have it then. It's P2 overall in the Monaco Grand Prix. Good points haul for CRG. I think we only lost very slightly to VSR, so we've definitely got a very good points haul, and we're getting closer to putting Ben in for Monaco, so that should be entertaining. But yeah, that's my highlights for this Trovo race. Fairly good race on my side, so I thought I'd put highlights up. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.